Hello, come in and have a seat. Thanks. Thank you so much for taking an appointment with me today. My name is Erin, and I am a licensed therapist, and I am here to help you with whatever you need. Before we get started, it's very important for me to let you know that this is a safe space for you to express whatever you need without any judgment. Everything is confidential, and I am here to assist you with any aspects of your life that you feel you might need some help in. It is a very strong person that takes the time to improve their mental health, and you're taking a great first step for yourself to improve and live an even better life. So, congratulations to you. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to do our typical client intake form. I'm just going to need some simple information from you, and then I will ask you some general questions, and then we can go into some more specifics, okay? Okay, so I'm just going to start off with your personal information, and remember that all of this information is protected as confidential information. Okay, so what is your name? Okay, and your address? Okay, and what is the best phone number to contact you on? Okay, and your email address? And for any future appointments, we will send an email reminder and a text reminder. Is that okay? Okay. Okay, and your date of birth? Your age? And your marital status? Okay. Okay, so have you previously received any other type of therapy services in the past? Okay. And are you currently taking any prescription medications? And could you let me know what those are and what they're for? And how often do you take that? Anything else? Okay. All right, so I'm going to go over some general questions that we ask everybody in the beginning, just to kind of get an idea for your overall health picture. Okay. So, how would you rate your current physical health? Would you say poor, unsatisfactory, satisfactory, good, or very good? Okay. Do you have any health problems that you think I should be aware of? Anything that is making it more difficult for you to have a, quality life? How would you rate your current sleeping habits? Poor, unsatisfactory, satisfactory, good, or very good? Do you have any sleep issues that you want to add here? Okay. How many times per week do you generally exercise? And what types of exercise do you participate in? Okay. And is that usually in like a gym setting or at home or outside? Okay. Are you currently experiencing any anxiety or have any phobias that are impacting your life? Okay. Are you currently experiencing any chronic pain? Okay. Do you drink alcohol more than once a week? It's okay, it's just something we have to ask. Okay. Have you had any life changes or stressful events that you've experienced recently? I know that with the current climate right now, with the global issues we've been having, that people are under a lot of stress. So something like that or something more specific? Okay, just a few more general questions. Are you currently employed? Okay, and what is your current employment situation? Are you full-time, part-time, contract work? Okay. Do you enjoy your work, and is there anything stressful about your current work? Okay, do you consider yourself to be spiritual or religious? And how would you describe that? All right. I know that these next two questions can put you on the spot, so if you want to take a moment and think about them before you answer, that's not a problem. But the next two questions are what you would consider to be some of your strengths and your weaknesses. Yeah, I know it feels like a job interview, I'm sorry. It's just to help kind of paint an overall picture of, your view of what you think you do well and maybe not so well, and will kind of help you work on some of those things. And it doesn't have to be a lot, just a few. Okay, so for the strengths, maybe one more. And some of your weaknesses, what would you say are things that are your weaknesses? Yeah. One more. Okay. And the last question in this section is going to transition us into the next part of the session, which is a little bit more specific, and that is, what would you like to accomplish out of your time in therapy? What brings you here today? Okay, yeah. So you feel like you're dealing with a little bit of maybe seasonal depression. Yeah, the winter's coming and it's affecting you. Is it affecting you more than it usually would? Okay. Well, I think that you've come to the right place, and I understand what you mean. It is very, very common to have a change in mood when we have a change in seasons, but specifically when we change into winter, because the sun is setting so much earlier. It's cold, it's dark, and there are some elements of the holiday season that can affect that, but overall it is a very common time where we find people coming in feeling affected by that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a couple of questionnaires specific to that, to seasonal affective disorder, and I'll ask you some questions and we can assess sort of how much that is impacting you and how we can help. Okay, all right, give me 1 second. Okay, so I grabbed the questionnaires that I was looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the sections with you, and I will let you know what type of questions are in each section and give you very specific instructions for what I'm looking for you to do. And these questionnaires, these answers that you provide will help us decide how much you're being affected and the level of treatment that we will suggest for you. And then you and I can work together to determine the right course of action and follow up and make sure that you are getting better. Okay, so part 1 is just going to be some general questions about like depressive symptoms, things that can happen all year round, and I just need you to tell me yes or no to these questions, okay? All right, so I want you to think of the past year, all throughout the past year, and tell me if there was any single period of time lasting at least 2 weeks where any of the following issues were an issue for you nearly every day. So if you had any batches of time throughout this past year where these things were kind of like nagging at you and wouldn't go away, let me know if it's a yes or a no, okay? All right, so were there 2 weeks or more where you had trouble falling asleep, staying asleep, or sleeping too much? Okay. When you were feeling tired and had little energy? Yes or no? Okay. When you experienced a noticeable difference in your appetite? Okay. When you lost interest in your daily activities? When you were feeling less self-confident? When you had trouble concentrating on things like reading the newspaper or watching television? Okay. When you were so fidgety or restless that you were moving around a lot more than usual, or the opposite, moving or speaking so slowly that other people would have noticed? Okay. And let me tally that up. Okay. Now on to part 2. And this is questions about how seasonal of a person you are. So I'm going to give you a statement, and you're going to tell me from 0 to 4 how many of these behaviors changes with the seasons. This one doesn't matter which season. It could be any time when we're transitioning from one season to another. How much of these things affect you during those changes? 0 is no change. 1 is a slight change. 2 is a moderate change. 3 is marked change. And 4 is extreme change. Yeah, that? Okay. All right, so in general, when the seasons change, do you have a change in your total sleep length? And that does include like naps and things like that. 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Thank you. A change in your level of social activity, including friends, family, and coworkers. 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Changes in your general mood or overall well-being. Okay. Change in your appetite, so both food cravings and the amount of food that you eat. 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay. And change in your energy level. 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Okay, so in part 3, we're going to talk about specific months. So I'm going to give you a statement such as I feel worst in or I feel best in, and I want you to give me a specific month. You're only going to pick one. It's okay if you feel like you're in between a few of them, but please just pick the one that just feels the most accurate, okay? Okay, so again, I'm going to give you a statement and you are going to let me know which month is applicable for that statement. All right, so I tend to feel worst in, which month would that be for you? Okay. I tend to sleep most in. Okay. I tend to have the least amount of energy in. Okay. I tend to have the lowest level of social activity in. I tend to feel best in. I tend to sleep least in. Okay. I tend to have the most energy in. And I tend to have the highest level of social activity in. Okay, let me just tally that up real quick. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. This is the last section. This is section 4. And this is going to focus specifically on the winter months. So, in comparison to other times of the year, during the winter months, which, if any, of the following symptoms tend to be present? And for these, you're just going to say yes or no. Okay? I tend to sleep longer hours, and that does include napping. I tend to have trouble waking up in the morning. I tend to have low daytime energy, feeling tired most of the time. I tend to feel worse overall in the late evening than in the morning. I tend to have a distinct temporary slump in mood or energy in the afternoon. I tend to crave more sweets and starches. I tend to eat more sweets and starches whether or not I crave them. I tend to crave sweets, but mostly in the afternoon and evening. Okay, 1 second. Let me just tabulate these. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a few minutes. If you want to get up and get a drink of water or make a phone call or whatever you need to do, I'm just gonna take a few minutes and look over everything here and take into consideration all of your different answers, your which months you feel best in, how you feel about the winter symptoms, and just take it all into account and develop an initial plan for you to help you start feeling better ASAP. How does that sound? All right, I'll be right back. Okay, so based on your answers and the data, it does appear that you are showing some symptoms of seasonal affective disorder. However, it's nothing to worry about. It's very, very common, and your answers score you in the low to moderate affected category. So this is something that we're not going to want to just jump into really aggressive therapies or anything like that. We can really start with some simple measures that I think are going to make a big difference for you. So I'm going to give you a few suggestions to take with you, and then I will see you back in a few weeks to assess how everything is going. Okay, so I'm going to recommend 2 supplements to you. I highly recommend that you speak to your doctor before you take these, just in case there's any reason why you shouldn't, but I think it should be something very helpful to you. The first one that I'm going to recommend is vitamin B12. Now, this isn't necessarily specifically for the winter. It's just that many people are deficient in B vitamins and they don't realize it, and B vitamins are extremely helpful for energy in general. So this is a sublingual liquid, which means that you put it under your tongue and then you wait a couple of seconds and then you swallow it. So it's in a liquid, it's easy to take, and it actually tastes very good. It has like a berry flavor to it. So this is something that can help you all year round, but specifically to give you a boost during the winter months when energy tends to be lower. If you are someone who is low in vitamin B12, you should notice a difference pretty quickly. The second vitamin that I'm going to recommend to you highly for seasonal affective disorder is vitamin D. And this one is also a liquid. It is a natural orange flavor. This one is a pretty high dose, so I would start off with maybe half of the dropper instead of the full one and work your way up. Vitamin D is something that we get naturally from the sun and can help with a whole host of body processes. And in the winter months, when the sun goes down so early, we're not getting as much vitamin D, and that can really affect your mood. And many people who experience seasonal depression or seasonal affective disorder are low in vitamin D, or they just need more of it in order to counteract the fact that the sun is down so early and we have so much more darkness and less time outside. So I'm definitely going to recommend that to you. The third thing I'm going to recommend, and I'm actually going to give this to you to try out so you can make a decision if you want to get your own, and then you can bring it back in a few weeks, is this light therapy lamp. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is what it looks like. It's very simple, and it has a stand on the back so you can set it on a counter, and then a little spot right here to plug in the power source. And this will light up very brightly. You tap on it to increase the intensity or decrease the intensity. You can see that there are a plus and a minus sign. So the way that this works is you will place it either on a desk or a nightstand or somewhere kind of off to the side from you, not directly at you. You don't want to be directly looking at it, especially if you have it on a high setting. It's supposed to be kind of almost in your peripheral vision on a tabletop sort of near you and like pointing towards you. And these light therapy lamps have been known to really help to lift your spirit and mimic natural light, especially if you're somebody who gets up early in the morning when there is no natural sunlight, and usually there is. It can really throw you off. So in the morning, if you spend just 10 or so minutes having this in your peripheral vision or on a computer desk off to the side while you're kind of checking your email or whatever it may be, it could make a really big difference, and it's such a simple way to get more light into your life. So again, I highly recommend starting on a lower setting and seeing how it feels and adjusting like how far away you keep it next to you and things like that. Alright, so again, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come here today and work to increase your level of happiness and well-being. I provided my card to you when you first came in, so that has my office number and my email address. If you have any questions about any of the treatment plan, or you need to change your appointment, or especially if you have any emergency issues that you need to speak with me about, feel free to reach out and contact me at any time. Okay? All right, I'll see you in 2 weeks.